Welcome to the Vanarama National League highlight show on BT Sport. It's been another action-packed week in English football's fifth tier as the league's only remaining unbeaten record is surrendered and leadership at the top of the table changes hands once again. We begin with Leyton Orient, who extended their unbeaten run to a club record 13 games on Tuesday night, thanks to a 5-1 win at Braintree. Macaulay Bond scoring a hat-trick in another convincing victory for Justin Edinburgh's side. Fellow promotion hopefuls Sutton United were the visitors to a bumper Brisbane road on matchday 14. Paul Doswell's men unbeaten in the last two games. The hosts almost broke the deadlock midway through the first half. Joe Widdowson's header cleared off the line. But it was a Sutton strike 4 minutes after the restart which stopped Orient's express train at the top. Jonah Ayunga, who signed from Brighton in the summer, going alone and firing his first goal of the season past Dean Brill. Orient were behind, not for the first time this season, but they couldn't find a way back despite piling on the pressure. Dale Gorman coming off the bench to be the home hero, but denied by the crossbar. The home side drawing a blank and beaten for the first time this season. 3 points for Sutton moves them up to 6th.
Frustrated in the sense of, being beaten, not getting something from the game. Not that it was an open game or lots of chances, but a game where, I think we come off and we don't get beat in that game for the fact of, there was very few chances. Sutton come to do a job and they've done it well. But like I say, the key for us now is what we react and how we react to this and go forward.
Salford City impressed again midweek, sweeping aside playoff-chasing Hartlepool United 3-0. Among the goal scorers, Adam Rooney, who moved on to 8 for the campaign. He spoke to us before this weekend's clash at Maidenhead United.
Adam, I hear congratulations are in order.
Yeah, second baby just arrived late last night, so good to get it early and get down here. So, delighted.
And was it hit and miss as to whether you was actually going to play today?
Well, just depended how long it took. Yeah, it was about 8 days over, so we've been waiting a while for it. So thankfully it came just in time and managed to get down this morning. So hopefully we can top it off with a win now.
But have you felt that there's any pressure on you because of the fact that you're a big money signing from Aberdeen?
Not really, to be honest. I always put pressure on myself to score goals. It's what I've always based my game on. It's being a goal scorer. So nothing really. I don't let outside things influence me. I just focus on my own game. Played at quite a few different levels over my career, so I played Championship, League 1, League 2, now in this. Played Scottish Premiership, Scottish Championship, so I played all sorts of levels. But no, it's been a good standard. It's been much more difficult league than I was expecting, to be honest. We've had a good look at a lot of the teams so far, and I don't think there's really anything to fear for us at this stage. I think we've shown what we're capable of. We've got a good squad, we play some good football, and as long as we keep working hard and doing that, hopefully we'll be up the right end of the table come the end of the season.
Salford will have been waiting for a Leyton Orient slip-up, but going for a 6th consecutive victory, they played a Maidenhead team that hadn't lost at home in 4. Less than half an hour gone in Berkshire, the visitors fought for an early lead. Scott Wiseman played a 1-2 with Rory Gaffney before sliding the ball underneath Carl Pentney, scoring for the first time in almost 2 years. Just a couple of minutes later, more bother at the back for the hosts. Danny Lloyd crossed for prolific Adam Rooney, who marked the new arrival in his family by getting to 9 goals for the season. Salford are after a 4th promotion in 5 campaigns. Into added time at the end of the second half, Devante Rodney wrapped up a comfortable 3-0 victory as Maidenhead lose their home run. Graham Alexander's in-form outfits are now unbeaten in 11 and top of the division.
You've got to enjoy the good times. You've got to enjoy wins, when you've been in game a long time. So you've got to enjoy it, but you're always looking to improve it and not let any sloppiness come in, because around the corner there's a lot of good teams that we've got to face yet, and everyone wants to beat everybody. So we just have to keep making sure our standards stay high and not get carried away. But I know we've got a good group of players that will do that.
Early season league leaders Harrogate Town put their unbeaten away form to the test at the weekend when they travelled to Boreham Wood, who hadn't lost a game at Meadow Park. Luke Garrard's side had finished empty-handed from their last 2 games, but they started brightly here and were off the mark inside the opening 11 minutes. Gozi Ogru, who was brought in on loan from Chesterfield 2 weeks ago, with his first for his new club. Harrogate were quick to respond and drew level 8 minutes later. George Thompson rising to Joe Leasley's cross to head in the equaliser. Then came the turnaround, quite literally, in the second half when Ryan Haddart's clearance hit Aaron Williams on the backside with the ball flying into the net. A goal which left its mark, and it was 2-1 to the visitors. And it went from bad to worse for Boreham Wood shortly afterwards, with Femi Elisanmi gifting the visitors another. The defender attempting to clear Leasley's cross, but slicing it into his own net instead. The game was far from over, and an impressive home debut by Ogru gave Boreham Wood fans some hope as he bagged his brace with a lovely strike from 30 yards. But Town substitute Jack Emmett restored the advantage with the final goal of the game to seal it for the visitors. 4 goals and 3 points on the road for Simon Weaver, and Town closed the gap at the top to a single point.
There were times in the game where we really got on the ball and hurt and got through them and created chances. Scored 4 goals is a big positive, but there's also areas of the game where that we can learn from and still strive for more, I'm sure.
I take full responsibility, like I do on the manager of this football club. I've got no issues with that, but for me, when you defend like the manner in which we did today, and you offer up goals in the manner in which we did, then the players have got to hold their hands up as much as me.
Barnet went to unbeaten at home Wrexham without a victory in 3 games after winning their previous 5 in succession. The home team had a huge goal-scoring opportunity a quarter of an hour in. Chris Holroyd flicked on to put Jordan Maguire Drew clean through, but he could only drag his shot wide. Moments before the interval in North Wales, a breakthrough. A defence-splitting Mark Carrington pass found Stuart Bevan, who calmly got the better of Mark Cousins in the Barnet goal. The best that John Still's side could manage in front of goal came just after the break. Wesley Fonguk drove at the home team's defence before then shooting straight at Rob Leyton. It's the first time Barnet have failed to find the net in 9. Sam Ricketts reckons Wrexham could have been more clinical.
I thought we were really, really good first half. 1-0 going in, it possibly could or should have been 2 or 3. And then second half, all fairness to Barnet, they came out and made us work extremely hard to eventually get over the line and get the all-important 3 points.
What a month September has been for Solihull Moors, who narrowly escaped relegation last season. Tim Flower's men had won 4 in 6 before their trip to Havant and Waterlooville, including last weekend's 5-0 thumping victory over Bromley and Tuesday's 2-0 win against Dagenham and Redbridge. By contrast, the Hawks haven't got going in their first season in the 5th tier, conceding the most goals and with just 1 win at home. They had new visitors to Wesley Park and 90 minutes to put that right. Haven't had the best chance of the first half in what was a tightly contested game. Keeper Ryan Boot reacting quickly when Dan Strugnall went close before Andreas Robinson had his header cleared off the line. Both teams didn't want to settle for a point and pushed for an opening goal. Jamie Record denied this time by the uprights. Solihull's perseverance eventually paid off, with the breakthrough coming with the final action of the game. The long ball forward finding its way to Danny Wright, whose shot was tipped onto the frame by Ben Dudzinski before Adi Yusuf bundled it home to snatch all 3 points in injury time. A 4th win in a row and a 4th clean sheet sees the Moors stay 5th.
Hosting Braintree Town, AFC Fylde looks set for another strong season. Dave Challoner's men had lost only 1 of their opening 13 in the 5th tier. After 11 minutes played in the northwest, a loose ball fell into the path of Serhat Tazdemir, who beat a defender and slotted into the bottom left of Ben Killip's goal, 1-0 to the hosts. Braintree weren't having a good week after being thrashed 5-1 on Tuesday by Leyton Orient. Still in the first period, Joe Alul was brilliantly denied by Jay Lynch. Minutes after the restart at Mill Farm, a cross for Fylde from Arlen Birch met the head of Danny Philliskirk, who doubled the advantage 2-0. Not long after, another question for the poor-performing Braintree defence. Ending a 5-match run without a goal, Danny Rowe, who's still on 8 for the season. Challoner wasn't happy, though, at full-time, accusing Fylde of overconfidence in the first half.
And we looked like we thought we were just going to turn up here and roll the team over. And we didn't compete, we didn't win aerial battles, we didn't win 50-50s, alongside the fact we were poor in possession. And that's a recipe for disaster. Thankfully, they've heeded the words that were sort of taken at half time, and second half we've been miles better.
Still to come on the Vanarama National League highlights show. Halifax snatch a late point. And Dagenham and Redbridge's miserable season continues. It's been a tough season so far for the Spireites in their first campaign in the National League. Tuesday's 3-1 home loss at the hands of Maidenhead was Martin Allen's side's 8th defeat in their last 10 games, with their last victory coming way back on August the 11th. They were hovering over the bottom 4, but just 2 points and 2 places separated them from Saturday's opponents Maidstone, who were looking for their first home win under Harry Wheeler. The visitors looked the most likely to score in the opening stages. Lee Shaw's shot saved by an outstretched Lee Worgan. But it was a defensive error at the other end which saw Chesterfield concede first. Laurie Wilson's long pass not dealt with by Lawrence Maguire. Instead, the ball dropping nicely for Blair Turgott to head it past Callum Burton. That's Turgott's 8th this season. Having taken just 2 points from the last 30 available, Chesterfield needed to find something. They were almost gifted an equaliser when Simon Walton nearly headed into his own net, but for Worgan's quick reaction. They did find the leveller on 74 minutes, courtesy of substitute Marc-Antoine Fortuné, the former West Brom and Celtic striker, following up his goal on Tuesday night with his second in 2 games. Despite the point, Chesterfield are on their worst run since 2012.
Massively proud of the lads. I think we've been fantastic. I thought everyone can see. I said we've got to give the crowd something to sing about. They surely can't be disappointed with the effort and the work rate and the chances we started creating. And you know, that's 3 unbeaten, 7 out of the last 9 points against all teams that are fighting for something. So yeah, we're happy.
It took Ebbsfleet United only 4 minutes to go 1-up at Dagenham and Redbridge. Defender Chris Bush was on target for the first time since December last year. Fleet may not have won their previous 6, but prior to kick-off, Daryl McMahon was full of praise for Reece Alassani. Elliot Justin denied the talented Coventry City low knee. Then past the half-hour mark in East London, Miles Weston saw Danny Kedwell. He was able to get the better of Justin to make it 2-0, and in the league 4 in 6 against the Daggers. Having been taken over this month, the hosts now have funds at their disposal. With minutes to go before the interval, Shamir Mullings pulled one back. He's recently signed on loan for the season from Maidstone United. Hope of a home equaliser suffered a huge blow 10 minutes after the restart when last man Ben Goodliff pulled back former Dagenham player Corey Whiteley. Penalty, said referee Gary Parsons. Kedwell converted to make it 5 now for the campaign. The clash almost had 5 goals following a late break from Luke Coulson. His attempt at goal, however, clipped the post. As the Daggers lose a 3rd in a row, only Leyton Orient and Harrogate have a better away record than Ebbsfleet.
We've got to make sure that we get more streetwise, and we've got to make sure that we don't make wrong decisions. And you know, silly little things like corners, you've got to make sure that you pick your men up and that you can't allow a team to have a set piece to hurt you.
To Hayes Lane, where 3 players were making their debut for Bromley, one of them unexpectedly. Keeper Max Huxter getting the nod after David Gregory was injured in the warm-up. The Ravens were looking to push on after their first win in 6 away at Ebbsfleet last time out. Jack Holland almost got them started, his header just clearing the crossbar. Visitors Halifax were in search of their first victory since the end of August, but they were on the back foot early on. Nathan Clark conceding a penalty with a foul on junior Ojedi Azokwe in the opening 15 minutes. Frankie Sutherland saw his efforts saved from the spot by Sam Johnson, but was able to convert the rebound to make it 1-0. The away side's first equaliser came on the hour mark. Josh Staunton making a comeback from an ankle injury, which has kept him out since the second game of the season, heading past Huxter to score his first goal for the club since signing from Woking in the summer. With less than 10 minutes to go, the pendulum swung again. Sutherland with a pinpoint pass to George Porter, who finished expertly. But the Shamen fought back a second time to deny Bromley the win. Jordan Preston nicking a point with just seconds to spare. The draw means it's as they were in the table.
Barrow made the 750-mile round trip to struggling Dover Athletic, having failed to win away all season and with only one victory in their previous 7. The hosts hadn't secured a win in 9, and in the first period in Kent required Mitch Walker in goal to be at his best to deny Tyler Smith. Determined to secure a rare 3 points, Barrow were playing good-to-watch football at Crabble. With 20 minutes to go, substitute Jack Hindle made his way to the Dover far post, finally breaking the deadlock. An injury to Moussa Diarra meant Athletic played the last 10 minutes with 10 men, having made all 3 subs. Barrow and one of their replacements capitalised. Hindle's on to 6 for the campaign as Ian Evert's team eventually win on the road. At this stage last season, Dover was second in the league.
I'm sure nobody means to not play very well, but today, especially the second half, we had a few chances, didn't we, with free kicks, corners, but didn't really play well at all.
After the Solihull loss and Aldershot, a number of fans were saying, that's it, Chris Kinnear, it's time to go. Where do you stand on comments like that?
I don't feel any different now to like when I first came in here in '86, but it does. It's about getting the right players to do it. Not always the best players, and it's just a matter of going on and not. What do? Do you just hide away, or you stand up and try and drag the lads with you? And that's exactly what we're trying to do.
This time last year, Aldershot were 8th, just outside the playoff positions. After 13 games this season, Gary Roddick's men were 19th and hadn't taken a single point on the road. Could they change that against Hartlepool, a team they'd beaten twice last season? The Pool's 9-match unbeaten run had come to an abrupt end in midweek after a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Salford. They responded with the first goal on 33 minutes. Nico Muir playing the 1-2 with Michael Woods before lobbing shot keeper Jake Cole. Aldershot weren't going home empty-handed this time, and on 63 minutes, Matt McClure got on the end of Jake Gallagher's through ball to score his second of the season. But they could have had all 3 points. Luke Howell's overhead kick rattling the crossbar in the final seconds, but not crossing the line.
I thought it was a mile over myself, but there you go. Now look, Loach played very well. He got man of the match, so that just tells you how well we played in the game. Look, it's a new group coming together and they're beginning to understand what me and James want from the group, you know, and slowly but surely our performances are improving.
Gateshead had won their previous 2 and hosted Eastleigh, who were aiming to make it 5 games unbeaten in the National League. The clash came to life in the second half as Robbie Tinkler hit the woodwork twice in a matter of only 2 minutes. First, an effort against the Eastleigh crossbar. Then, after a corner in the northeast for Steve Watson's men, an opener was prevented by a post. Approaching the final 10 minutes, the visitors attempted to make the most of Gateshead's failure in front of goal. From distance, Josh Hare struck, and cruelly for Gateshead, the attempt went in off the post. It's 3 wins on the bounce for Eastleigh. Watson's side have lost 3 in succession at home.
It's up to us to break teams down. We've proved this season that we've got the players to do it, but last 2 home games, and it's not just the last 2, I suppose, really since Salford and maybe spells against other teams, we've not been anywhere near creative enough. And we've got 5, 6, 7 creative players in that team really that should be taking the game by the scruff of the neck more than they did today.
Salford City are the new National League leaders after that emphatic 3-0 victory over Maidenhead. They leapfrogged Leyton Orient, who suffered their first defeat of the season. Solihull's 4th win in a row means Tim Flower's side sit 5th as their strong start to the season continues. And Fylde sneak into the playoff places thanks to their 3-0 victory over bottom side Braintree. At the other end, Dagenham and Redbridge's woes continue as they remain in the bottom 4. 1 place below them are Dover, who are now without a win in their last 10 matches. And Chesterfield's search for their first 3 points since August goes on. That 1-1 draw at Maidstone sees them stay in 20th.
This weekend in National League North, struggling Darlington hosted mid-table Stockport County. The hosts, with only 2 victories in 11, were under pressure from the beginning as Sam Walker went close. Then a move from out wide eventually found its way to the strong Niall Bell, who made it 1-0 to County, who have won twice in a week in the North East. 4th from bottom Darlington have failed to score in their last 3.
So Stockport County climb into the top half after that win at Darlington. Chorley failed to win for just the 2nd time this season as they drew 0-0 at home to Chester. Their lead at the top of the National League North is cut to 7 points thanks to Kidderminster's 3-2 victory against Altrincham. Alfreton's 3rd loss in a row means they drop to 9th. In the south, Billericay moved to the top of the table after their 2-0 win at Hampton and Richmond. They swapped places with Woking, who could only draw with Torquay after being 2-0 up with 10 minutes to play. Elsewhere, St Albans move up to 6th after winning 4-2 at Chelmsford. Ralston Gabriel scoring all 4 for the Hertfordshire club. Before we go, a reminder that we have a bumper day of action on BT Sport next Saturday. First off, we have women's international football as England take on Brazil at Meadow Lane. That's exclusively live from 12:15 on BT Sport 1 HD and 4K UHD. Keeping an eye on all of the results up and down the country, BT Sport Score will keep you up to date on BT Sport 1 from 2:45. From 5, you can see if Jose Mourinho can turn Manchester United's fortunes around. They host Newcastle at Old Trafford. That's on BT Sport 1 and 4K UHD. Following that, boxing takes centre stage at 8:30 when BT Sport Fight Night comes to you live from Leicester Arena, with Jack Catterall taking on O'Hara Davis at light welterweight. And we round off a mouth-watering day of sport with UFC as Conor McGregor makes his long-awaited return to the octagon against Khabib Nurmagomedov for the UFC Lightweight Championship. That's live on BT Sport 1 HD from 1 AM. There were 195 goals scored in September in the National League. We'll leave you this week with a selection of the best. We'll see you soon.